Hey guys, today we're going to be doing some extra stuff with bubble letters. I know we've been doing a lot with them already, but I put out a little survey for my students and asked what are some things that you guys would like to do over remote learning. And one of you said you would really like to learn how to make harder bubble letters, which I thought might be a good idea for a lot of you because you guys are doing really great on your bubble letters so far, and it seems like we're having a lot of fun doing them, so why not add a little bit extra? So this video is just for fun. I'm going to teach you how to do some extra things with bubble letters aside from just like the basic rectangle shaped letters. If you don't like making bubble letters and you feel like it's been a big struggle for you, this video might not be for you. Because if you don't like making them, you're probably not going to like making them harder. But if you've been having fun and you'd like to learn some new things, I'm going to show you. So, in a previous video, I showed you guys how to do bubble letters like this. Just kind of blocky and simple. So some of you might be thinking about like the bubble letters you might see if someone like spray paints a name or a word somewhere. Those bubble letters are super detailed, super cool, lots of fun colors, but they seem really hard to do. And they do take a lot of work. I'm not gonna exactly show you how to do like that, but I am gonna show you how to add some extra stuff to your bubble letters. So the key to making your bubble letters a little more interesting is when you start off drawing like the line that you're gonna trace around, rather than just drawing the letters all normal, have some of the letters curve. See how my K, this part is curved, that one has a little curve like that, the A is curved, I have the Y curving a little. They're not just plain. I made some bigger, some smaller, some are up, some are down, like that. So the first step is that. Then when you trace around your letters, you can have some parts that kind of curl out more and also have some letters that overlap. That is a big important step to trying to make your bubble letters look a lot more interesting. If they touch or they overlap each other like here and here, it just looks a lot cooler. And then finally, when you get towards drawing your letters this way, then you can add lots of little extra details around the letters, and that's when it starts to look really cool. So you can see in this one, I did like little arrows inside this part of the K. I did these little dashes. All of these designs are basically dots and lines. There's nothing super fancy, but when you add a lot of them, it really starts to make it look fun. I'm gonna show you one that I made with my name again, Kayla, because Miss Bruss just didn't seem that fun to write. So I have a lot of my letters are overlapping each other. The A is going in front of the K. This Y, I changed the end of it into like the little, like a little devil tail or whatever you want to call it. And then I turned my L into a butterfly, and I also added those little arrows, those dashes, and those lines and stuff like that. So with these kinds of things, you can change your letters to look like something, which is kind of what we did in our other project. So like the Y changes into this, or the L changes into that butterfly. However, the key to making your letters look more fun is changing the curve of them, making them more curved, not so blocky, and let them overlap one another. That means you definitely want to start with a pencil first. And now I'm going to show you how I would make something similar to this one on a whole new piece of paper. So maybe you'll get some ideas. So for our bubble letters, what I'm going to have you start with is writing out your name just like this, just regular. Now you don't want to do it in marker. You want to do it in pencil. I did it in marker on this one just so you could see it better. So I'm going to start by writing out my name, and then we're going to add these extra steps. So for my first step, I'm going to write out my letters, and remember I talked about adding a curve to them. So I'm not just going to do like straight up and down because that's kind of boring. So I'm going to bend the back of the K and just kind of take your time. This would be a great thing to like do some practice of first, like maybe on a smaller paper, practice a bunch of different ways that you can curve the letters so you find one you like. I'm going to do my next letter kind of close. Notice this one's shorter, that one's longer. That's a great way to make your letters look more interesting. If you have a letter like a Y or something that has like an extra piece coming off, it's kind of fun to have it trail off in the picture. All right, so I have my letters written out, and see how already you can tell that they're kind of interesting, like the shapes they are. Now I'm gonna work on tracing around them. You can add these things here. Sometimes they're called like a foot, by adding like a little rectangle at the end of your shape. So see how I'm adding a rectangle here, and then I'm starting to trace around. I could add half of a foot there by just doing it on the one side. Now, as you're doing this, remember, it's fun to have them overlap each other. So don't draw super hard until you know exactly how you're gonna have the letters go. So see how some of my letters are overlapping in front and behind each other? That's something I'm going to change later and make it so that, you don't see both at the same time. All right, so I have my letters mostly traced. I'm leaving this one because I think I want to add another one of these little tails at the end. So I'm going to, at the end of this, make the little shape. Now notice how some of my letters are in front, some are behind. That's something I'll kind of erase parts of it later, but I think what I like to do first is I like to add the little arrows, the little dashes, little dots all over the place. It's also a good time to think about if you want to change any of your letters to be a different shape. So like how I changed the end of my Y to be this little shape here, you want to think about that kind of stuff now. I think for my letter A, I'm actually going to do a little halo and give it some wings. So I have the little devil tail, and then I'll do the little angel wings on the other. And now I'm gonna go around adding these little arrows. So what I like to do is I just pick a random edge to one of my letters, and I'll do like a little trace around it like this, and just kind of make it a little shape or line. I might go in like the little cracks or the corners of the letter and fill that in with a little arrow shape. You can do little dashes. They could be little ovals that get smaller and smaller as they go along. They could be just an arrow going up the side. So take your time adding little details to each letter. This is something that should be fun and get you feeling kind of creative when you do it. There is no right or wrong way. This is also something that just takes practice, guys. So you might do something and you kind of think, you know what? I don't like the way I did that. Next time I'm gonna change it. Okay, so I think I'm done with this. It looks pretty cool. Now, when you trace over with Sharpie, if you have a black marker and you want to trace over it, the thing is now you have to kind of look at it and make sure that you don't just trace every single line, because we don't want everything to be showing up. Some of the stuff is going to get erased away. For example, my letter A is in front of my letter K. I'm actually going to trace this one first so I don't accidentally trace the part of the letter K that's going through. So I traced all the parts of my letter A that are still going to be showing at the end. The inside here, and also that part of the K, we don't want to trace that because that's not supposed to be showing through. My letter L is in front of my letter Y, so I'm going to actually do that one before my letter Y. Now that I'm done with my Sharpie, you're gonna do one of my favorite parts, which is erasing all of the pencil lines. All right, so we're all done with that. And you guys can just see how like having the letters overlap, adding all the extra details, really takes your art to a different level. Overlapping parts of your drawing is actually a really good art skill to practice because it makes your artwork look more interesting, and also if you're trying to make something look realistic, things do overlap in real life, so it can make things look more realistic too. Now obviously this is not something realistic, but it's really fun and just is something that you can practice and work on if you want to, and if you don't like it, then you know it's something you don't need to do. Of course, my last step is going to be coloring. You can color yours any way you want. I love doing this kind of rainbow thing, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, and with that, I am all finished with both of my pictures. Coloring it in is not necessary, but of course it's a lot of fun, and it can also help show your letters a little bit better. So I hope you guys learned something with this today, and I hope you have fun making your bubble letters. All right, guys, I hope you had fun making your fancy bubble letters with me today. Again, if you don't love making bubble letters, it's okay if this didn't really appeal to you, but I know some of you really like to make them, and I thought, why not? Let's do a little extra with them. So I hope you had fun with these, and if you did decide to make one, you know I would love to see it. So make sure you send it my way or show it to me in our next Google Meet. But I will see you guys next time for another video. Bye!